Well, hello, glorious people of the interwebs, and welcome back to Red Dead Online. I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. We're doing another one of these podcast-style episodes where we just kind of play through Red Dead Online and talk about some of the things we want to add, and some things that should be maybe changed or still need a little bit of fixing. And I hope you all enjoy the episode. We're going to get right into it. And this is one thing that I've discussed a little bit in the past few live streams. And that is creating some sort of underground boxing ring in the world. I think it would be a great idea, either for like an actual job and being able to maybe like create your own underground boxing empire. There's a lot of different things that can be done with this, even if it's just something that you can go to in free roam, kind of like how we go to poker, and sign up to box somebody or invite somebody to a boxing match that's been, I don't know, griefing somebody or trolling, and settle your differences that way. I think it would be a lot of fun. And we've been doing these, you know, like makeshift fight clubs lately in our live streams, and they've been a lot of fun. And if this could actually be something that Rockstar could control and make it a little bit easier to, one, set up, or two, just make it so people can actually enter it as like a game mode or something. I think it would be awesome having boxing. Like, say, there's tons of empty barns and empty buildings strewn throughout Red Dead Online, and any of these could be retrofitted to have some kind of like underground boxing ring there. And you could walk into that and you could be set into a queue to like where it removes your weapons, and then you duke it out with somebody. You can have like leaderboards and stuff like that for wins and losses. I think it's a really, really interesting concept, not only for something where you can just kind of walk in and queue it up like poker, but potentially having it as like a job where you can create your own boxing ring and own like somewhere on the map that's a boxing ring and be able to place bets against other people that are fighting. It would be really cool is if a bunch of people walked into an area and it was like a fight club pretty much, and they could place bets on people to win or lose, obviously. And I don't know, I think there's a lot of potential there for something like that to really succeed in this environment. I mean, like, hell, there's an empty building right there. That's Saloon. At least it's empty in Red Dead Redemption, like the story mode, is it? Can we even get in here in online? Can't get through that door. Oh, we can get through it in here. This is a little too small, but there's tons of barns and stuff that could be retrofitted for it. Or even just putting like a little like hidden door that goes underground or something into a basement, like the Saint Denis fence or something like that, like a trap door. There's lots of potentiality in the game for that. Let me know what you guys think about that idea, and anything that you could flesh out in the comments maybe to make it even more interesting would be pretty awesome. And really anything that we can add to free roam for distraction purposes or just fun things to do, like more gambling and stuff, which we're going to get into here in just a minute. But another thing that I would really like to see, and I've been saying this since Red Dead Online was released, there is literally, where are all the animals? I'm trying to hunt so I can get some food for tonight's live stream, but lo and behold, I cannot find an animal to save my life right now. I haven't had any of these issues lately. Like, honestly, the animal spawns have significantly increased, and I've discussed a lot of this stuff as far as like server performance, and the current status of the game in previous episodes of these podcasts. I'm going to make a whole playlist for this style video if you guys want to check it out, because I get asked, whoa, it's rubber banding. I get asked a lot about many of these questions, and I feel like having a playlist of all of this, you guys can go look in for, you know, any of my opinions on the status of the game would probably be beneficial, so I don't always have to keep, you know, repeating myself constantly. Not that I don't mind answering questions. It's what I live stream for. But another thing that I've been saying pretty much since online started is we need, like... Okay, let's put it this way. We need to be able to duel. And then on top of dueling, it would be amazing if we could create some kind of Gunslinger leaderboard. Ooh, is this the Stranger Danger up here? Or the Dynamic Event, rather. Daddy Tag needs some XP. But yeah, being able to challenge other players to duels, and then being able to have a Gunslinger leaderboard on top of that. So, say you're getting grief by somebody, instead of like pressing charges or going into a feud, you can go into a duel. And basically that mode makes you take a couple paces, and then at the end of those paces, you turn around and fire. And if you're able to kill the person or disarm them, then you win, and you get a win on the Gunslinger leaderboard. And I think that would be a really cool way to handle not only like disputes on the servers in a fun and interactive way, like, and in this classic Western style, I think would be an amazing addition. And then not only that, if you become a notorious gunslinger, whether you're a troll or not, people can seek you out and challenge you, you know? And I think that's a really interesting dynamic, because right now, there's really nothing in the game that really sets people apart, other than just like, hey, that dude's like level 4 billion. You know, people will know your name, and you could theoretically become famous in a game for being an amazing gunslinger. And being able to set yourself apart in a game like this is really cool. Like, and having people like come up to you and want to challenge you and talk to you about like for ideas and stuff for being better. I think it's a really cool way to kind of create a bit of a better environment and a more interactive environment. That's what I really want to see in Red Dead Online. And I know Rockstar, I believe Rockstar, is really starting to lean towards this whole RP style stuff where people can create their own world outside of the real world. And I think this would be a great addition. Feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And then the next thing, kind of touching base on the griefing. I've had a lot of conversations with everybody during live streams, and I've seen a lot of the comments and stuff on videos in reference to griefing and trolling. And I do feel in any game, and more specifically a game where there's outlaws and lawmen and stuff like that in the Wild West, that there is absolutely a place in this game for people that want to play that dishonorable character. But I don't think there's a place for like little 12-year-olds or just angry people that go into a server specifically to like basically shoot somebody in the head and then switch servers. I think that completely ruins the experience for everybody. I don't think there's a place for that. So I do see why we need things to kind of reduce trolling and griefing, but at the same time, there is definitely a place for that. Like people role-playing as Murphy Brood, or role-playing as Nightfolk and stuff like that. And that's things I plan on doing at some point for videos and stuff like that, because there's places in this game for that style of gameplay, and I think it does need to be needed. So I don't think that necessarily we need more things to prevent or to basically absolutely 100% stop trolling. And I have a couple ideas that might lend a little bit of a help to this. Now, most MMOs, so let's start off with one idea, which is kind of like the more drastic side of it, because people want private lobbies. And I agree, like private lobbies would be great, especially with a large community like mine, being able to get everybody into the same thing and be able to host our own RP-style things. But most MMOs, it is so foggy right now, this is ridiculous. Most MMOs, or large games like this, if you want to consider this an MMO, I don't know if it's really would be considered. But you have, you know, RP, PvE, and PvP servers. Now, I don't think we need PvE servers, but I think what would be interesting is you can have your standard servers just like we have them now, and nothing really needed to change. Theoretically, I still think these things do need to be changed. But then you can have your RP servers, where if you want to be that type of character, you can 100% roleplay being that Murphy Brood, Nightfolk, griefer type of person. But there's also needs to be some sort of thing that happens to that particular person. Not necessarily happens, but repercussions for being a bad character. Because really, there's no benefit to being a good character in this game, and there's really no benefit to being a bad character. But there's also nothing that prevents you, really, from being a bad character. So really, everybody is just motivated to be bad because, I mean, there's no reason to be good and there's no reason to be bad. And I think whether it's through like an RP like server settings where you have accentuated things that happen if you're good or bad, would be interesting. But I don't think they're going to split up the servers, so the potentiality for having RP servers and regular servers is probably very slim. So what I would like to see, if not the RP and the PvP style servers, and then stuff along the lines of, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Let's get off our horse here and take care of these guys. Can you get shot in the face, maybe, please, sir? Oh, you got shot in the chin and you lived. He was a freaking beast. So what I would like to see is, if you're playing a good character, you could be hired to protect a town. This doesn't necessarily have to be a job, but if you have high honor, you could go to a town and maybe stop at the sheriff's office and be like, hey, you get extra XP and maybe money every time you kill somebody that's flagged as being a criminal. Because realistically, they would know, the police or whatever, would know if you're a bad person, especially if you're doing a ton of griefing. So what this could do is reward people for being good, and the people that really want to be super trolls all the time, this wouldn't affect like the occasional one, but the ones where they are just hardcore, just doing everything they can to be either a bad character or somebody that's just really just out to ruin the experience for other players, an actual repercussion for having done this. And I think it creates a more interesting dynamic. Because if I want to be an outlaw, I also want that fear of being an outlaw, because it creates tension and excitement. You know, people can hunt you down. So if you really want to be that outlaw, when you go pink, then you could also become a target for these honorable players to grief you back. Because quite frankly, there are really, really good players, and like on both sides. And it could create this interesting dynamic where you have really, really great PvP players that want to be good and protect towns and protect other players. And you also have the players and giving each side their own, special thing that happens. So being able to, one, if you're extremely bad, there's repercussions for doing that. And there would be repercussions in real life. And I feel like in a game where they're trying to create as accurate of time as possible, there should be repercussions for being this bad character. And it would prevent a lot of the pointless griefing, and only the people that really want to play that style character would end up doing it. And maybe they'll have access, if you're really dishonorable, you'll have access to special missions, aside from story missions, but special things that you can do to, like, take down town folk, or breaking people out of jail and stuff like that, that you couldn't do if you're an honorable character. So at one side, you're a target, but then you have access to things that you wouldn't have access to if you're honorable. And then it gives people more reason to be honorable or be dishonorable. And then there's actual repercussions to prevent the senseless griefing, because quite frankly, most of the kids, if they end up getting flagged like this, they just won't be able to play because they'll be a target. And instead of just hopping around servers being little douchey trolls killing people then moving servers, they'll just stop doing it because there's a legitimate reason to not do it now. And I think that would be a very more dynamic and interesting way of dealing with it, rather than just preventing it entirely. Because if you give a reason to not do it, and benefits to doing it as well, people will be more likely to choose to do it, and the ones that just do it because they think it's fun and have absolutely no repercussions will just stop doing it. And to be quite honest, griefing has significantly dropped to begin with, especially since the defensive mode and stuff like that. But I think adding an extra layer to it will really give reason for those that want to be like that, something to actually work forward to if they have special rewards for being that type of character. And then also actual repercussions. Because really, there's no reason to be good or bad right now. And I do have a feeling in the future that's going to change, obviously, but I don't think it can be just story missions, because you can access both sides regardless, especially if you're queuing up for it. So there definitely needs to be more on both sides for being honorable or dishonorable. So that's something I would like to see change into the future. And I know I went on a long spiel, but it's kind of hard to describe really what I wanted to create. There's a lot of different nuances that would have to go with it to really flesh it out, and I don't know what's going on. We're going through a black screen and being repositioned. Good times. Now, so that was a very long spiel, and I hope that came through okay. Let me know what you guys think about that. Obviously, that's something that really should be discussed more. And I'd like to see changes as far as the honorable and dishonorable stuff in the future. Now, another thing that we kind of touched base on would be I've touched base on this before, which is having mini games at your camp. Wait, did I just get a double thing? Did I get credit for the first one? What is happening? I don't even know what's going on now. So right now we've got poker that you can do in towns. Now, what I think, camps are pretty much useless right now, and I think that really should change, especially because camps are pretty much just all over the place. They're never in where you actually put them, and there's an upkeep to have them. So they need to have more of a benefit than what we have now. Now, one thing that I think could be extremely easy for them to do, especially since they've already put in poker, is to allow us to do these mini games at our camp as well. Now, they need to add, in my opinion, 5-finger fillet, dominoes, basically all the things that we had in the Red Dead Redemption 2 story should be added to online, because at this point, if we have poker, we should be able to have everything else. And I do have a feeling we're going to get that over time, but I really want to see it at the camp as well. And then maybe up the poker limit at camp to be able to include your entire posse, because right now, you have to leave one player out of your posse to play poker in town. And I'd like to see that change for the camps to give reason to playing at a camp with a full posse. And then maybe you can invite people in the session to your camp to play these mini games, like to play 5-finger fillet, dominoes, poker, blackjack, all of these games that we enjoy. I'd love to see Liar's Dice put back into the game. That was amazing in Red Dead Redemption 1. And I think it would be amazing to have it in online as well. I can't kill these guys all of a sudden. This is cool. Good job, Tag. You can't shoot. Oh my god. There we go. There we go. Okay. That was a bit of a disaster. But yeah, so having mini games at the camp. I'd also like to see members of the posse be able to donate supplies to the camp, whether that be ammunition or just be able to have a stew that you can eat that improves your cores depending on what the posse has donated to the camp. I think it would be a really nice thing. Basically anything to make the posse feel more like a group rather than just people running around and then no other immersion for the posse whatsoever. So a little more bonuses for the posse at the camp to make the camps at least usable, because right now there's no reason to use a camp. The only thing I'll use it for is if I need to cook food, and even then it's still a pain to get to the camp to get the food, because the camp is always moving and then you have to pay to move it again. It's a bit of a nightmare, and I'd love to see it improved upon, fleshed out a little bit more, improvements and stuff like that. Maybe being able to upgrade your camp to be even more defensible than it is now. So that way you could raise the red flag if you really want to go hardcore PvP against another thing, like set up raids and stuff like that. That would be awesome to do in free roam, is if you can set up like posse raids where you have to actually raid their camp, and you can upgrade your camp for these style raids. I think would be really, really fun. And hopefully maybe something like that will change as we get more jobs and stuff. So definitely mini games at the camps and improvements to posse life at the camp. Make it a lot more like the style of Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode, where you're actually, working together to build up your camp. I think would be really nice. Now, number 5. Red Dead Redemption 1 had kart racing. I have no idea why Rockstar has not taken advantage of the fun of kart racing in Red Dead Online, or even in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's like they completely forgot that kart racing was a thing that you could do. Now, this lends into two things. You can purchase carts, which you need to use for kart racing. Well, not need to use, but you can use for kart racing. And then you can also use it for free roam. And then also allowing you to upgrade various parts of your cart to make it more durable, faster or stuff like that, lighter, heavier, if you want to be more like be able to take more damage and stuff like that. So being able to adjust your cart for these races to make it better, being able to upgrade the amount of horses you can use on carts and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of potentiality for wagon races, not only in free roam, but in Showdown and race series as well, because the kart races are so much fun. It was one of my favorite race style. It was my favorite race style in Red Dead Redemption 1, and it's got a lot of potential in Red Dead Online, especially if we can use those wagons in free roam and upgrade them and customize them, maybe even paint them and stuff like that. There's so many different things you could do with this, and it's got a lot of potential. I'd love to see Rockstar implement it. So this gives them more of a reason than just like, hey, we want to be able to use carts in free roam. Now, this could potentially net them money as well. So trying to give incentive to get the carts in free roam that we want, along with other things. So kart races, and then being able to, spend money that we've earned or gold to upgrade the carts for, various different things, like pimping out our carts, making them stronger, more durable, and stuff like that. So I think that would work really well in Red Dead Online, especially, and I don't think it's going to be very hard to implement as well. Maybe the customization would be, but at least getting wagons purchasable and races and stuff like that should not be that difficult to implement. So I'd love to see that. Now, those are my top 5 things I want to see. Now, as far as things that I'd like to see fixed is the custom showdown playlists. I've been requesting this since day one. Being able to basically set up our custom playlists like you can in Red Dead or in GTA would be really great. Because there's a lot of game modes I don't really want to play, or at least add additional playlist styles for different things, like all the capture the flag style games, you know, territory games, and then the more PvP centric stuff should all be on their own playlists. You kind of select the gameplay styles that you want to play if we can't create our own styles, you know? So I definitely want to see an improvement to the Showdown series available lists, as if not being able to fully customize our own playlists. But definitely having like all the grab the bag stuff in a playlist. You know, Overrun and all these territory style things should be in a playlist because they're all a lot of fun and they would work well together in a playlist. I can't kill anybody today. Man, this is nightmare. I do like these dynamic events. I wish there's a little bit more variance in them, because most of them are just ambushes. I like to see like a little bit, like where you give somebody like a potion or something and you get XP, and I don't know. I'd like to see this fleshed out more too. Not that I have a problem really with the way it is. I just want to see more of it, because I think it's really good and is fleshing out the world a little bit more. That wasn't on my list. I was just thinking about it while I was doing this. And then what I would like to see is being able to queue for free roam events. Am I not even firing my... I'm not. No wonder. Do I not have ammunition? What is... That was weird. Alright, I was wondering why I was firing so slow. I was like, I just cleaned these weapons. So free roam events. I have... Most of you, if you've been following the channel, you know I have an issue with free roam events. I still haven't gotten the animal hunting one. I didn't get the fishing one for 3 months. So I would really like the ability to queue up for a free roam event. Maybe it's still on a cycle, or queue up for a specific one. And that way, instead of having to wait 45 minutes for hopefully the one you want to play to pop up, a lot of people don't have, 6 hours to sit, and hopefully within that 6 hours, one of the game modes they want to do actually pops up. So I think being able to queue up, and if enough people queue up, then you launch a free roam event. I don't think that's very hard to do. So it keeps you in free roam until there's enough people queued up for a particular free roam event, then it just launches. And I think that is a really great way, because some of these free roam events are a lot of fun. And it's a shame that we can't really do them, because they just don't pop often enough to be able to actually play them. And I think it's a shame. So I don't want the work that Rockstar's put into these free roam events to be wasted. So I'd really like the opportunity to be able to queue up for it. And then once enough people are queued up, then you exit free roam and you do the little event. I think it's a great idea. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. But that is all I've got for today's episode. Try not to make these too horribly long, but just as long as they need to be. We'll talk about all the stuff we want to talk about, and then we'll be done for today. But thank you guys so much for watching. And let me know in the comments below anything that you'd like to see, thoughts on the things that I discussed in this video. We can have a conversation. And maybe if there's some really great ideas in the comments below that I haven't thought of before, and I'm sure there's a ton of them, maybe that's stuff we could discuss in a future video or live stream. So anyways, I'll see you all in the next one.